Welcome. Let you guys show up for a little bit while I go live on my Instagram. All right. All right, welcome to another episode of Down Bad at Work. We are taking your calls, we're taking your questions, we're taking your concerns today. It's a Tuesday stream. Father Tug is not here. I am here today. We are answering all your calls on work problems. Theme for today is interviewing, bad interviews, times you've bombed on interviews. Welcome everybody. If this is your first time joining, we got the number here at the top. Very simple. You give me a call. I answer your questions. We're going to chat it up a little bit. Tuesday's the worst night of the week. We're here to make it better. We're joining our friends Down Bad on the Twitch stream as well. So if you're a Twitch person, join that as well. It's called the Down Bad Patrol. Answering all your questions about work, dating, life. Today the theme is going to be bad interviews and bad interview stories. So while we wait for some people to join, some calls to start coming in, let's kind of go through what some of you folks have said on the Instagram story. Does that sound good? All right. So I asked you guys, what's the worst that you've ever bombed in an interview? We had someone say, this was my favorite. Ask me why I wanted to be a financial planner. I didn't have an answer, so I just hung up. I think that's incredible. I think that's the exact right approach. This has happened to me before. I was on an interview once, I want to say maybe 5 years ago. It was about like digital marketing or some shit. And someone asked me, and the guy asked me, what's a brand who you really admire for what their .com website does? And I give a shit about what a brand's .com website. I basically said, hold on, sorry, I'm losing reception. And I just hung up, furiously researched for about 45 minutes and scheduled another time to talk again because especially with a phone interview, you can just get out of questions real easy. All right, folks, for my Down Bad people on Twitch, I am not Father Tug, I am Jack. We're answering your questions about dating. We're also answering your questions about work as well. I'm not Father Tucker, but I'm here on Tuesdays. So that's what we're doing here. Let's see what some of the comments are. If you're new to the chat, I run an Instagram page called Work, Retire, Die. Check it out. It's memes, videos, content about working an office job. Because nothing sucks more than working an office job. All right, let's see what some of you are saying here. All right. Someone says, all right, let me just make sure this is all working correctly. All right. Let's keep going then. All right, some other people that have responded on the story. Someone said they asked me a question with several acronyms. I didn't know what any of them were, and I just started crying. That's not great. I'm sure you're a very emotional person, and that's okay. I think just crying in the middle of an interview, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Luckily, you have the allergies excuse. You can always use that. We're going to take our first call on Down Bad Hotline tonight.
Call from
Philip.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
All right, Philip. Hello. Philip. Philip. Sir. Hello. All right, so that was our first call. Sometimes that will happen. Sometimes people call in. Maybe they get nervous. Maybe they've never worked a phone before. That'll happen sometimes. Keep calling in at the number 973-370-2775. I want to hear your bad work stories, your times that you failed with an office crush, times you've bombed an interview. That's what we're here for. All right. Another person said on an interview they dropped their CV under the table and had to crawl to the interviewer's feet to retrieve it. That's an absolute nightmare situation. Generally, like, you don't want to be on your hands and knees in an interview. Sometimes that'll happen though, and you got to do what you can. I think this is incredibly impressive that they actually went down to get the resume themselves. I mean, if I were to drop my resume on the ground, I don't know if my first move would be to crawl under and pick it back up. I think I would just let it sit there. If you really need to be looking at your resume throughout an interview, you're probably not, that prepared in the first place, right? I mean, so this is for all you people. If you drop your resume on the ground, just leave it. You don't have to call under or get it. Just leave it. Let's have some self-respect, okay? All right, folks, we are waiting for some more of your calls. This one, incredibly awkward. This is kind of how, this is probably how I would respond. Someone replied and they said, I was asked to do math in front of them, ended up staring at the board in silence for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is so much time. So much time. I'm starting to think this is probably an exaggeration, because if you're standing in silence at a board for 20 minutes, that's an unfathomable length of time to be standing in silence during an interview. I can't imagine that. I think at a certain point, the question is, when would you stop standing there in silence? I think I would probably, for one, am not very comfortable with silence in the first place. I think I would probably have to check out after maybe 2 minutes and just say, look, I don't want to waste any of your guys' time. Let's just go home and call it a day. I think 20 minutes is a brave soul, and it's actually kind of a positive thing. It shows that you have patience and shows that you're willing to kind of stick with things to the end. And I think, actually, if I was interviewing you, I would give you the job. And I'm very proud of you for that. All right, let's see. Some of you are saying in the chat. All right. Yes, guys, if you're not from the U.S., remember to put the +1 at the beginning. Yes, we were answering your work questions today. You can be down bad in love, but you can also be down bad at work. And that's what we're here for today. We're trying to mix it up a little bit to my down bad patrol people, to my work retire die people. Let's see what people are talking about here in the comments. One time I closed the elevator on the CEO going up the building. That's a tough move, Tia G, am I saying that correctly? Family name, Tia G. To be fair, you don't really know who the CEO is unless you do know. And honestly, riding the elevator with the CEO is too stressful in the first place. I would just close it and just blame a faulty elevator. Elevators fail all the time. That's how a lot of people die, sadly. All right, let's see what else we got in the comments here. All right, we had someone say recently, okay, I realized 10 minutes in that I applied to the wrong job post. I got roasted for an hour because I didn't know how to admit it. This is a very stubborn person. I think finding out you're in the middle of an interview for the wrong position, that's a true nightmare situation in its full degree. I don't know how you get through that, and I think like getting through an interview where you're just not interested in the job at all, and then getting roasted for it. So they're asking you questions that you truly don't know the answer to. You're a proud person, whoever submitted this, but I would in the future leave your pride at the door. Save yourself a full hour, because I mean, you can't just sit there for an hour for the wrong job. All right. Guys, call the hotline for the crying out loud. 973-370-2775, ladies and gentlemen. We are waiting for your calls. Let me know if you're having trouble getting through. Last week we had one of the worst ones that I've heard so far. Someone just started a job for the first time and they reached out to their boss on a Wednesday trying to be fun and they said, "Hey, happy humping." They meant to say happy hump day. They said happy humping. Checked their email about 48 hours later, realized they had said happy humping. And the boss just never responded. And now they didn't know how to face them. That's a tough situation. At least you're encouraging your boss to have intercourse, which is always good, and I appreciate that. All right, we got a call from an international caller, Exotic, +39. What country's that?
Call from.
Jack.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hey, is this Jack?
How's it going, man?
What's up, man? Where are you calling from?
I am actually calling from San Diego.
Beautiful San Diego.
That is right, my man.
What's going on? What can I do for you today? How's your Tuesday going?
Tuesday is going swell. It's never bad in America's finest city.
It really is. San Diego is probably the perfect city in the world, right? I mean, weather-wise, you're near a lot of Marines, so you feel safe.
This is true. And sailors, less as safe.
Interesting. Sailors can be dangerous people. I agree with that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I mean, like, this is a joke saying that, like, Marines are better than sailors. This is a guy who used to be in the Marines. So
shit, there's beef right now. If you're a sailor, leave the chat. We're Marine. This is a Marine hotline right now.
Yeah. Funny stuff. You're live on Instagram. I thought I'd partake.
Let's go. Let's hear it. I want to hear, you got any questions you need advice on or any bad interview stories or anything like that?
Well, it's not an interview story so much as it is post-interview. I actually showed up to a job. So this is how bad government contracting can be from time to time. Buddy of mine was in a government contract job, and he said, "Yeah, man, like, I can hook you up with a job for sure. Like, here's the job description. You're plenty qualified."
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay, like, I will put in my resume, and everything will be. I'll hope for the best." So I waited 6 weeks and interviewed with the contracting company. Never interviewed with the actual customer.
Okay.
I just heard from my buddy in the contract company, "Hey, man, customer loved your resume, loved what we had to say about you. They want to give you a shot because they really need someone in the position. So go ahead."
Amazing.
You show up on this day. And I showed up and, talked to the customer. And basically, it was a completely different job position than what I was told.
Terrible.
And the contract company just basically altered my resume so that way they could get the contract. And I was completely unprepared and completely mortified. And
wait, so they altered your resume completely?
Maybe like 60-70%
Oh
is
my
what I'm
God.
guessing in order to like meet what they were saying.
I feel like that could be a crime, no?
I don't know. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here.
All right. No one's getting in trouble.
It's just the only way I could imagine, me getting hired for this position.
Got it. So did you? And, so then you basically had to start this job with no knowledge of how to do it.
Yeah, they specifically wanted me to know like in-depth Photoshop because I was going to be like a marketer, like a graphic designer for like their marketing.
I feel like that's not a skill that you can fake knowing how to do.
Definitely not.
No.
Definitely not.
How long did you last in that job
I thought
for?
I was going to regular. What's that?
How long did you last in that fake job for?
A year.
Wow. Okay.
I adapted and made it work.
All right. That's what we like to hear, Jack.
Thanks, man.
That's the
Yeah,
power. That's the
I,
power of bullshit, man. You can make it. You can make it away without any skills for at least a year. I've always said that.
Well, and so like I don't know, like is that a compliment on me? Does it say something about the job? I don't know.
I think
but,
a combination
the point
of
is that. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm saying combination of both. It sounds like you're an incredible bullshitter, which is a very good skill in corporate America. But it also sounds like you might be working at like one of these fake companies where you don't really have to do shit. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely was trying really hard. If I didn't have to do shit, I tried like way too hard.
Exactly.
And I got paid, so you know what? It's all good.
That's all that matters. Another year on Earth.
That's right. Yeah, thank God. But that job is by far the thing that makes your page relatable. So
all right. Well, I'm
you,
glad. I'm glad some good came out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I was able to appreciate your humor.
All right. Well, Jack, thank you for calling in. You got a good name. My name is also Jack.
Oh, how about that?
Jack Crew. We always stick together.
Jack Crew. Where it's at. All right, dog. I appreciate your stuff.
All right,
Talk
brother.
to you later.
Have a good night. Appreciate you. All right.
Let's see ya.
So I would say that call applies to, I would say, 50% of office jobs. And also pretty much mainly government jobs as well. I feel like you really don't need true technical skills. You just need to be able to, like, push work off to other people, answer a question in a meeting, maybe, like, figure out how to Google how to do your job from one point to another. But that guy's figured it out. Shout out to Jack. Hanging onto a job that you have absolutely no skills in for a full year, that's an incredible task. And you get to live in San Diego too, which I'm jealous of you. All right, let's see what else we got here. Someone said, I had to leave an interview in the middle because I was about to piss my pants. I've been there before, brother. This is actually a very personal story. My first year after college, actually I was in college, I actually shit my pants in the middle of an interview. And in the middle of an interview session, I did. Yeah. If you guys are familiar with like consulting, there's like super days. So you're interviewing with like 4 or 5 different people throughout the day. I had like drinking a ton of coffee the day before and the morning of because I was super nervous. So I kind of had the shits a little bit. But I was wearing like a full suit, right? So in the middle of my, call it 3rd and 4th interviews, I really had to pee. So I was like, hey man, do you mind if I just quickly run to the bathroom right now? I need to like take a quick pee. So I ran to the bathroom, standing at the urinal, and I really pushed out the pee, and I pushed out a fart, and I shit my pants. I shit my pants right there in the bathroom, dressed in a full suit. So mind you, I have another interview to go to immediately after that. And I have shit in my pants. So what I did was I ran, luckily there was no one in the bathroom at the time. I ran to the bathroom and I have to change my fucking underwear and I'm wearing a full suit. So I take off my dress shoes, I take off my dress pants, hang them over the thing, and I just threw out the underwear. Wipe. And then I had to pull back on my dress pants without any underwear, put on my dress shoes, wash my hands briefly, and then run to my last interview. And as I walked out, there was a guy there washing his hands, like looking at me kind of weird. And I just had to keep it moving. I did not get that job offer. Shout out to Deloitte. You guys hold it down. You did a good job not hiring me. Your recruitment process is very effective. So, you know, if you do feel like you have to, if you feel like you have a bad interview story, you have not shit your pants in the middle of a super day. And that's special. All right. Yes, my brother in Christ. Yes, I did take a little poopy. That would happen from time to time. Onion, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, my friend Onion. You're my biggest fan. I love you. I'm sorry you had to hear that. That's just life. Everybody poops, even in the middle of a job interview. All right, folks. Okay, this is a really bad one as well. Someone replied, I got sick on the table after a solid 3 days of drinking and cocaine. They could tell I was steamed before I even sat down. Brother, what are you doing? If you're showing up to an interview like so drunk that you throw up on the table, just don't go to the interview. You know what I'm saying? And if you're showing up so what I'm trying to understand from this is, was this person hung over at the interview and then they threw up on the table? I'm throwing up on the table in the middle of an interview. That sounds like a scene from a fucking movie. Like, that doesn't happen in real life. And if they're drunk going to the interview, like, that's a classic thing that you just don't do. You know, like, when I'm drunk, there's a lot of things that I just won't do. Charge my phone. Tip the Uber driver. I'm sorry, I'll tip you in the morning. But, like, showing up to an interview when you're already drunk, that's just an easy thing to skip. All right, guys, call the number up ahead, 973-370-2775. We're answering your questions on work. I'll also take your questions on anything that you want advice on. I'm here filling in for Father Tug on Tuesday nights. We're trying something a little different. This is your chance to get in the stream. My work retired eye people. If you just want to chat, give me a call. We'll chat it up a little bit slower tonight than it normally is. Drop some of your bad interview experiences in the comments. I'll read them out loud, and we'll take it from there. All right. Someone said I dropped a Mitch Hedberg joke in the middle of it. That's okay. The thing about a Mitch Hedberg joke is it's very deadpan. So, like, that's probably not what you're going for in an interview. I feel like in an interview, you really want to... In an interview, you don't necessarily want to be making jokes. And if you do, it has to be as safe of a joke as possible. So a Mitch Hedberg joke is probably not the move for an interview. That's what I would say. All right, let's pop it in the comments a little bit. Wow, Onion. Wow, Onion's a hater now. R.I.P. Onion. All right. Let's read a couple more of these Instagram things, and if no one wants to chat, no one wants to chat. We'll call it a day. It's been a wonderful time speaking to you all. Let's see what else we got. Someone said, I asked my interviewer to change my question and explicitly told him what question to ask instead. That's pretty ballsy. Like, if someone asks you a question you don't know the answer to, you're like, hey, can you just ask me something different? Like, I'd just rather not answer this question. Like, I don't... That's a pretty ballsy thing. I don't know if that was successful. Hats off to you if it is. I admire your confidence, and I think that's the number one skill to have an interview, and I think that's a very impressive thing. All right. Someone was interviewing... Okay, here's a good one. Someone was interviewing at Tumblr back in 2013. Shout out Tumblr. They said the office dog, Tommy Pom, shit on the floor right in front of them. No job offer. In what way is that your fault? This is not your fault that the dog pooed on the floor. That's Tommy the dog's fault. We got a call. Here we go. Hotline's heating up.
Call from
Philip.
Philip, what can I do for you?
Hi, Jack. Jack, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Good. How's it going? Well, I enjoy the Instagram page a lot. It's one of my favorites. And I wanted to share the worst interview I had, except it was not my fault. It was actually the company that was so horrible. I was actually extremely relieved not to hear back from them.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so this company was in Sandy Springs, Georgia. I won't name them. I actually don't remember their name, and they changed their name frequently for some reason.
Probably to avoid
But
like the police or something.
Yeah, it was some kind of sleazy operation for sure. Went to their office. It was in this lovely office park, and I thought, wow, this place looks nice. Go up there, the door's locked. There's a dude out front smoking, which is fine, but he seemed a little put out with the place. And it turned out, I found out later, he was the guy that I would have ostensibly been replacing.
Okay.
Anyway, go into this place. Once I'm allowed in, all the lights are off. Big, dark office with very, very few people in there. Walk by a few offices where people have got things like large televisions set up on their desk as monitors and things like that. No lights on anywhere.
Okay.
We go to the conference room. Conference room is at the corner of the building, has a splendid view, but there are dog beds in there with stuffing boinging up out of them.
Okay.
And the place smells kind of doggy. And I'm a dog lover. I have dogs, but, my house and car don't smell like them. Anyway.
Dog smell is not a great smell to be walking into for a job interview.
Yeah. So anyway, the whole place was kind of dank, and the ceiling tiles were moist and stained and all that. And this was a very high rent area. I mean, this was a large office that cost a lot of money, but it was mostly empty and dark and everything. Anyway, the interview committee comes in, extremely unprofessional, and they were very casual. And I thought, okay, well, I'm comfortable because they obviously don't seem to be all that persnickety.
Okay.
And during the interview, one of them actually blurted out, speaking about their own client, one of them blurted out that some of their clients were, quote, retarded.
Oh, cannot say that word in a work
and I
setting.
Thought, I'm sitting here a perfect stranger. They don't know anything about me, and they're just throwing that word out.
Yeah. Sounds like not really the kind of people that you might want to be working for.
Yeah. I left there, never really heard back, and I was quite okay with that. But anyway, that's pretty much it. It was just kind of a stunning experience because I've never quite seen anything like it in any of the interviews I've been on.
Yeah, that's a pretty stunning experience in general. What did the company do?
They maintained cell phone towers.
Got it.
Yeah, they contracted with cell company, mobile providers and all, and they did the maintenance on all the towers. And they needed somebody who could coordinate like purchasing of parts and service and all that. And the salary was mysteriously high too, which also was like, it's like, well, that's appealing, but it was a bit of a red flag. Like, why is the salary so damn high for this job?
Yeah, you're paying me too much for this job.
Yeah,
that feels like the kind of place where like
that difficult.
You won't see that salary at the end of the day.
Yeah. So it was kind of one of those things. I was like, well, maybe this was like a big mousetrap, and I'm better off avoiding it.
No, definitely. I think you sounds like a dodged a bullet. That's just like a crazy thing to say, in casual conversation in the first place, but also like in a job interview, you're trying to impress someone. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because the one thing everyone should remember is the interview goes both ways. It's like you're trying to impress them, but they need to impress you too.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely agree.
So, anyway, that's pretty much it. But I love the page, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right.
All right, brother. Yeah. Philip's exactly right. When you're interviewing at a place, you're interviewing them as well to see if you want to work there. And that's just you can't be talking like that in any setting, let alone like, that's the worst, is when somebody like that you don't know very well just assumes that they can talk to you in a certain way, and you're just like, okay, where do I go from here now that you're saying that? Unbelievable. Onion, thank you. I am looking good today. I'm not normally a suit guy, but I think I might be from now on. All right. Let's do one or two more calls. If you do want to call in, call the number ahead. We're just talking work stories, bad interviews, bad bosses. You can also just talk to me about whatever the hell you want. We got about 5 minutes left, if that. So, let's see what some other people said. I asked people on the stream, what's the worst interview experience you ever had? Let's see. Another person interviewed for the completely wrong job, blames the recruiter. That's fair. Recruiters, I have friends who are recruiters, love recruiters. The one thing I think keep in mind with working with a recruiter is like they don't always have your best interests in mind. So just be a little careful when you're like interviewing for things. I can't imagine a worse situation than just being on an interview for a job that you are not interested at all in, and you just have no idea what you're talking about. This is a good one. Someone said developed allergies to the boss's companion dog halfway through the interview. If you're going to be allergic to your boss's companion dog, you can't work there in the first place. But to be coughing and sneezing the entire time, that's a true nightmare in the truest sense. All right, folks. I think we're going to call it a night tonight. I appreciate you all calling in. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Onion, I always appreciate you. And we'll be back next week with some more calls and questions about work. Have the best night of your lives, guys. I appreciate you all. All right.